You know, pretty much any guy that sees this movie, he's gonna come out of the movie theater and he's gonna be thinking this to himself. Name's Eastwood. Clint Eastwood. So The Magnificent Seven is a remake of a retelling of it. We've seen this plot a billion times before. This movie is Western 101. You got a town, and they're being terrorized by this evil dude who wants to do evil stuff, who wants to mine their gold. So some people from the town get an army together, led by Denzel Washington. He recruits Chris Pratt, Vincent D'Onofrio, Storm Shadow. There's a big group of people. 7 people to be exact, and they kind of rally the town together, get them in a fighting shape. We've seen this 100 times over. We saw this in Tombstone, we've seen this in Clint Eastwood movies. We saw this in A Bug's Life, to an extent. Kind of. And this movie is directed by Anton Fuqua. He's a really awesome director, brought his Training Day, Olympus Has Fallen. And this movie is such a love letter to old classic Hollywood. Kind of like what Hail Caesar was trying to do earlier this year, this movie actually did it. First things first, this movie just oozes star power right out the gate. You got Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, Vincent D'Onofrio, Byung-Hun Lee. Did I say that name right? I've called the dude Storm Shadow for years. I feel like I should get him away from that franchise because he's actually a good actor. And while he was the best part of those G.I. Joe movies, he doesn't deserve to be associated with the G.I. Joe movies. But everyone in this cast was just so entertaining to watch. Even the dudes that I didn't know going into it, like the Mexican dude and the Native American dude, they were also really cool. And what I think this movie has a leg up on over the original Magnificent Seven is, look at the cast from the original Magnificent Seven. You got a bunch of cool dudes in there, but it almost feels like generic just copy and paste John Wayne clones. With one dude in there who's like kind of Latino, but kind of not. But look at the cast in this one, and all the characters, they look different, so there's that, but they also have much different personalities that I think shine through a lot more than the personalities in the original Magnificent Seven. You got Denzel Washington, the leader with the past that you can tell he's hiding. You got Chris Pratt, the really charismatic dude who has an affinity for magic tricks. Vincent D'Onofrio with his weird voice, and he doesn't really fit into the Magnificent Seven, but he kind of does at the same time. Feels like he kills a lot of dudes, but also he's just kind of like waddling around the whole time, and I'm like, how have you not been killed yet? Byung-Hun Lee's really cool with the knives. Ethan Hawke is like the sharpshooter. The Mexican dude's all like Panchito Pistoles and stuff, and then you got the Native American dude who's really awesome with a bow. It's kind of like the Avengers. You can tell that all these guys come from different places, and they all have different specialities that they like to add to the table. Because like if all the Avengers just looked like that, then it'd be kind of boring. And there's a couple scenes where those guys are just kind of kicking back, hanging around, having a good time. And you'd think those scenes would slow the movie down, but they really don't. They add a lot of character to the people that we're watching. You start to care about them more. You can tell that they're really invested in this town. It's like what Suicide Squad kind of did with their bar scene. That movie just needed more of that. Magnificent Seven had a good blend of it. And Anton Fuqua, he's a really good action director, and this movie's no exception. He's got some really sweet shootouts in this movie. They don't happen very often, but when they do, it feels full on like classic Western, just bam, 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 like Clint Eastwood status. And this movie doesn't take itself too seriously. Like, it's not Fast and Furious level ridiculous, but it's also not super grounded like, say, a Casino Royale. They don't wink at the camera too much, yet you still can kick back and have a really good time with it. And so it's a total popcorn flick. You go in, you kick back, you have a good time. So all of the 7 were good. Haley Bennett, who you're going to see later in The Girl on the Train, she was really good too. Peter Sarsgaard as the villain. He's just a classic movie villain, like literally slimy dude. He just walks in, he's like, all right, this is my town now. You step out of line, I'm going to blow you away. He's not the deepest villain in the whole world, but again, this isn't the deepest movie in the whole world. It's allowed to be just fun entertainment because it's done just so well. This movie knows exactly what it is. It's even got some good callbacks to the original. There's one scene in particular that is pretty much shot for shot a scene from the original Magnificent Seven. And when I was watching it, I was like, all right, this is kind of cool, but just don't do that again. And they don't do that again. There's just that one scene where it's pretty much shot for shot from the original movie. But other than that, this movie blazes its own trails. I mean, it does borrow the same exact plot as the original. But as far as the scenes go, this movie has a new, fun, inventive way of playing the story out. Overall, The Magnificent Seven was a really fun, entertaining movie, something that I feel like we've been lacking a little bit this year. I mean, we've got a couple. We got your Civil Wars, your Deadpool, your Jungle Books. This movie's just non-stop popcorn fun. I really enjoyed it. I can't really think of many negatives in it. The only real negative I can think of is that it doesn't bring anything relatively new to the table. But it's a Western movie. Like, how much more can you do in the Western genre? You try to deviate from the formula too much, then you get your Jonah Hexes and you get your Wild Wild West. So this movie played it safe. It doesn't bring anything new to the table. However, the cast is really good. The shootouts are really good. The directing's also really nice. It does feel like a movie that was shot about 30 to 40 years ago. So if you've not yet seen The Magnificent Seven, check it out. It's definitely worth your time. Go with a couple friends, grab a large bucket of popcorn, kick your feet back, have fun. But if you have seen The Magnificent Seven, let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, you can click subscribe and check out some of my other videos, and I'll catch you guys next time.